blue. Doom 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 doom. Do. Slides for lessons.
Ataque sério, sensor de sangue fraco. Reporte a 276.
Hey, watch out when the orangutans evolve.
It's only a one.
Kick our ass.
It's only a 1,000 watt station.
Esse é a
Did you know that the orangutan used a plant to soothe a wound on its skin?
511 Roger, direct uneasy.
Watch out for the orangutans, dude, they're gonna take over.
West 499 milhas, controle de Alegre 1,9 decimal 0.
Alegre 190, 499, é boa.
Ethiopia 506, clear direct en route.
Probably will.
Alegre, uma boa, do 4996, informação papá.
Azul 4996, acione a identificação, desça ao nível de voo 160, voa direto Bogvuve.
Descida ao nível de voo 160, já voando na frente de Bogvuve, Azul 4996. Porto Alegre, voo 202109, posição, Arapuxa, estacionamento.
Voo 2021, autorizado pushback e o acionamento, faça com cauda para 29 e chame pronto para táxi.
Livre, cauda para 29, chama o táxi, gol 2021.
00 pés, o Kenegal no 009.
Azul 9009, pode partir.
511, contact Curitiba on frequency 128.4.
I don't know what city it is yet. It's kind of hard to understand a lot of that.
Tonight's game. No, they won't say it. You have to detect what's the most common accent you're hearing. And then I'm going to turn the beat. I'm going to put the beat on pause. So the game is, can you identify the language and then perhaps the city? I don't know if I would guess it.
Acione a identificação, proa de Bogvuve, desce o nível de voo 120.
That's it right there. That's the. You're warm. I think you're warm. Well.
506, contact Curitiba, frequency 124.775.
If you know the answer, call in 509-676. There are people in Miami that speak the language. It's not the most common language.
Portuguese,
You got it.
Brazil, or
Brazil. What city is the busy airport? Yeah, I think this is Sao Paulo Airport.
Damn, I'd work that right there.
Because it's almost Spanish.
Well, it's French, and then there's
French, African, and is there an
There's
indig?
French, that's why it's hard to pronounce Portuguese. It's not like when you read Spanish, it's kind of easy to figure out, where Portuguese is like, there's a lot of silent letters. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sao Paulo. I haven't looked it up, but do you know what their population is?
That's quite a bit.
It's like 14 million or something crazy.
I knew a guy from there, and I think that's where Tom Zay is from,
I think it's like
It's like
5 Los Angeleses or
I wanted to go there with this friend. His name was Danny, and because he said because I said I always wanted to go to Brazil. He goes,
Porto Alegre, muito boa noite. O azul 42166 na Pampa. Seria possível autorização a TC para Galeão?
Just because it's you gotta really know your stuff if you go to Brazil,
Meio, confirme o S, eu vou.
especially if you're.
Eu aumentei ao 50.
Yeah. Well, he goes.
Sim,
They
trabalho.
got parts of the country where you'll see a sign that'll say authorities will not protect you beyond.
Oh, really? So it's.
So there's. I've read that somewhere too. Yeah, there's certain parts of Brazil that are. I suppose there's other countries like that too.
Well, anywhere with, I'm
I
sure
heard
in India,
Ecuador is
in
pretty
densely
good.
populated
Yep.
areas
Well,
of high
women,
poverty.
women in India are treated like fucking trash. Oh, sorry.
Controle, só para deixar reportado, é o Papa Romeo Fox Mike, please. Próximo a vertical
You
de Canela, ali
gotta,
próximo também,
you gotta be careful is
entre
what
Canela e
all
Novo
we're saying.
Hamburgo, reportando
Depends on where you
turbulência
are.
moderada.
Right here in the good old
Próximo
US of
mais
A,
ciente da turbulência.
you gotta be
será
careful
registrado. Segue
sometimes.
descida 2700 pés. Autorizado.
But if you have a
o
city of 20
RNB,
million
reporte nacional estabilizado, ok?
with a lot of poverty,
RNB, acusado estabilizado,
hey, maybe we should do something about poverty. Maybe?
Papa
Is
Romeo
that a
Eco,
thing?
Sierra Papá,
Hey,
Curitiba,
maybe.
frequência 12845, bom voo.
Maybe we should do something about poverty.
45, o Papa Romeo, que é a Papa.
Oh, that's right. We're just making it illegal to sleep outside. That fixed everything, didn't it?
Criminalizing being poor.
Do 4216, pronto para cópia da autorização?
Pronto, cópias do 42, o nome é.
Do 4216, autorizado para o aeroporto do Galeão, rota do plano de voo,
That's kinda
nível de
nice,
voo
isn't it?
390, suba via saída curvo 2 Alfa, transição EGBIP, transponder 3254 e a frequência do controle Porto Alegre 120
This is Something Television Part 2. Part 2. You can call us. It's sort of a call-in show. 509-676-6032 if you're listening. I think it'll ring. Sometimes people call, they say I called, but it didn't. You didn't pick up, so I'll do my best.
Do 42 não aumenta. Porto Alegre, boa noite, é o voo 1931, posição 5, Romeo, feedback acionamento.
Or in, yeah, in all of South America.
1931,
Yeah,
autorizado
I knew it was
para
largest city in South America. It's not largest in the world, though.
The macro metropolis, whatever that means, is
Sorry,
33
voo
million.
202.
33 million, and LA is like 5 to 8 million, depending on how you count it. Check LA size, too. I remember somebody saying Sao Paulo is like 5 Los Angeleses or something.
As far as population,
Yeah,
area-wise.
population, yeah. It's tricky, though, because do you count like Kentwood? What do you count? Do you count Long Beach as part of LA? Because they touch. I defy you to tell me when you leave Long Beach and when you enter LA. You're just on a train going, hey, look, there's a building.
O 2021.
Yeah. Well, I was on a bus going from downtown LA to Long Beach. I never. Yeah.
Sherman Oaks is LA.
But that word you said earlier, the metro
I
area,
never heard macro metropolis.
that just means the whole kit and caboodle, I think.
Well, it's not. No, that's usually a metro area.
I know that
Two.
they're throwing that term out to cover their butts.
I want to see what if it gives one. See, it doesn't even give one for Los Angeles. It gives metro area of Los Angeles is 13 million.
Okay. Ooh, that's big.
That's just metro, but Sao Paulo, now you have to back.
How much do they actually count?
Viva, 3158, Delta.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is live streaming television with sounds and beats and occasional callers.
Oh, this is Cliff at the Kent County Road Commission. I just want to thank you for the service that you
What'd you say?
free on the internet. We got a lot of guys out on the road right now clearing all the ice and snow so people can get home safely. And the free entertainment and spiritual guidance that you're providing the citizens of Kent County.
509-676
603
6032.
And just want to let you know your YouTube signal is working correctly, and we are receiving it loud and clear. So again, keep up the good work, and God bless you.
Yeah, we got a, ladies and gentlemen, we have a call. Please hold. Please hold. I see a number, so I will pick up the call. Yes, hello. You're on the air, sir. Or madam. You're on the air.
I'm in the air.
Tell us what's happening in your part of the world.
I'm in the rain.
Let me turn off the air traffic controllers for a minute because they're disruptive. Go ahead, sir. From where are you calling? Somewhere exotic and far away? What
I don't know where I am.
You don't. He doesn't know. Well, perhaps we can help. Look around you and tell us what you see. Do you see something?
I see four red birdhouses.
4 red birdhouses. That you could be in Tokyo, you could be in Sao Paulo with that information. Let's see if we can narrow it down. Do you see snow on the ground?
No snow.
No snow.
Gravel.
Gravel. What would you say the ambient temperature Fahrenheit is?
70 degrees.
70 degrees. All right. You could be in North America or Western Europe. Could be the edge of hell. One of our audience members is suggesting 70 degrees. Well, it's is it evening or morning or afternoon or nighttime? What's your time zone?
It looks like evening.
Looks like evening. Okay. We're going to go with North America. You could be anywhere from Mexico to Saskatchewan. The temperatures are hard because they vary so much this time of year. We don't.
Saskatchewan?
Come again, sir? I couldn't understand.
Saskatchewan?
Saskatchewan. You could be in Saskatchewan. What kind of trees? Do you see cactuses? Do you see trees? Do you see palm trees? Do you see deciduous growth? What do you see?
Deciduous.
You see deciduous? All right. We're going to move you up into North America. Somewhere from Kansas City to Toronto. What do you think? Is that pretty good?
Oh, I like Toronto.
You like Toronto? That is good.
That's not where I'm.
You're not from there, though. You're not in Toronto right now, is what you're telling me.
No, it doesn't. No, this is not
Okay.
Toronto.
Okay.
It could be part of Toronto.
Could be. Probably not. Probably not. Well, I'm sorry that you don't know where you are, but is it raining where you?
Where are you?
We are in Walla Walla, Washington. Walla Walla.
How many walls out there?
How many what?
How many walls you got?
How many walls?
How many
I'm not
walls
going to
you got,
answer.
walls?
I'm not going to dignify that question with an answer. We've got all the walls, sir. And how was your day? Did you have a good day today?
Oh yeah.
Or did it suck?
No.
No. Okay, good. That's good.
No suckage.
And did you already hear us talking about where the air traffic control was coming from?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Any closing thoughts?
I'm not there.
You're not where? At the Porto Alegre, Brazil airport?
I'm not by the airport.
No, you're not. Yeah, you're way in a different climate. Well, thanks for calling, sir. Riveting conversation. And 509-676-6032 is our number. I think. I believe that's the correct number.
Maintain flight level 370.
Call us. Tell us where you are. We're in Walla Walla, Washington, with the beautiful trees and the mountains and the fresh air, although the Canadian forest fires did a number on that not too long ago. 509-676. Oh, I wrote the wrong number in there. Dang it. I don't even know what my own number is.
Prossiga, X-Ray Bravo Índia.
Estimando pouso 2201 com 154 PAC. Aeronave, não, as solicitações, uma...
509-676-6032. Folks, it's allergy season here in Walla Walla, Washington. So stay ready, stay prepared. 509-676-6032. 676 6032.
Controle para Alegre, voo 2021.
2021, contato radar na decolagem, suba ao nível de voo 250 sem restrição, autorizado direto Corgu.
Positivo, sem restrições ao nível 250, voa Corgu. Voo 2021.
Foxtrot Mike Whisky, chame a torre, frequência 1810, boa noite.
676-6032.
Obrigado.
Let's see, let's make this different.
Papa Romeo Foxtrot
What
Mike
happens if we
Whisky,
choose a
autorizado
white?
pouso pistão 1, vento 200 graus 06 nós, total estimado de 900 pés.
7, Fox Mike Whisky, livre, pouso para 1.
That's not very good, is it? Maybe I got filters
Comando
on.
52, condição 1, sem solicitações. O Lima Bravo Juliet para na posição 9 e segue fazendo Guarulhos, 4526 das 19h50. Confirma, comando, vocês desembarcam e assumem o Congonhas das 20h25.
Isso aí.
O comando até o solo.
New. Para 250, tanto 3424.
3424, como recebe nessa frequência?
Botão 3424, não está conseguindo copiar. Mesa 1.
Como recebe agora?
Permanece, senhor, clareza 1 aí, está reduzindo 250 a nós, está 3424.
Então, nono.
Ah, 3424
Para 3424, como recebe nessa frequência?
A gente está no meio do rolê aqui, senhor, tá ruim também, a gente vai voltar 201 lá, e é isso, é para reduzir 250 nós, é isso?
Afirmo, 250 nós, na chegada o senhor é o quarto agora para pouso.
250 nós, está 3424. Para o táxi.
931, táxi para o ponto de espera da pista 1 via eixo do Pátio no Mac 3 Bravo Juliette, reporte pronto, ajuste 1010.
Frente no eixo, Mike 3, Bravo, Juliette, com 1010, vai reportar no ponto de espera da prova por 93,
What happened to our beats? We lost our beats, people. Let's get them back. Gotta get your beats. Welcome to the show. So what we learned is that the city is big. Cities are big. Some cities are big. Doom boom ba 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 boom. Well, I think I was going to play a movie tonight, but I have to think about the title because I've forgotten the title, but it's
Steamer.
yes. Let's go work on the steamer in the kitchen. I'm going to turn the camera so you can see the outside. Enjoy these beats. If you call us, I'll try to answer. I really will. I'll try to answer. We better change this a little bit because it looks too much. It's kind of a rainy night here in Walla Walla. Good old Walla Walla, Washington. A little bit rainy right now. About 70 degrees. We're loving it. Let's check our filters on this thing. That is the wrong one to check. We're going to leave that alone. Doom 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 doom. Do 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 do. Little R&R, people. People are talking about R&R. But we won't say the name of the...
They were just thrashing around. It was funny the way they were sliding.
I have some valuable Commodore monitors for your Commodore computer.
Oh, Commodore. Actually, Mail Order Monsters used the Commodore, didn't they? For their graphics, for their show. Yeah. They played the pickle. They were great. There almost wasn't enough room to fit them in, but we fit them in.
You use Commodore?
Yeah, he used, he made programs and used imagery from designed on a Commodore 64, I think, for their show.
Oh, but they didn't use actual Commodore computers to run it.
Well, I think they did, didn't they, Sean? I don't remember.
Or they just had recordings of
I
this stuff.
can't remember. It was a few years ago. They actually played a Space Abbey at her food truck at one year. I missed that. Alright, fellas, I'm gonna hit it.
Utilizado RNPs do Loda 1 no ONU já reduzido.
They got old computers.
223, continue a aproximação com a pista livre, Bravo à frente. Agora na quinta milha, Bravo Eco 9 Lima.
So they can't.
Are you
Tinha
broadcasting?
reduzido
Are you
222.
Like arcade games.
Yeah, I see it.
Então 3437, taxi, Mike 4, Delta Bravo, Juliette, chame pronto pro ponto zero, ajuste 1008.
1008 Delta 4, Mike 4, Delta Bravo Juliette e ponto espera, reportarei pronto a 3437.
Station fly direct to Atgol, Argentina 1246, Alpha Sierra Golf Oscar Lima. E já vamos embora. Fabiano Barcelos, CAT 1, a pedido da escala, tá?
Cuja 118, decimal 5.
pés, o Romeo de Golf. Confirme. Avistou com 580 pés, o Romeo de Golf. Tente.
Para 4.000 pés, 1008. Azul 2506. O 2506 tá livre a restrição do 6.000?
Azul 2506, livre de restrições até 4.000.
Livre restrições 4.000, graças a 2506.
Tente, uniforme Romeo Golf, frequência livre para coordenação local até o retorno.
Ação, alguma danada na proximidade de Montenegro, na escuta do helicóptero, uniforme Romeo Golf.
No 242, para estatar, segundo a sua descida, desça da presente para nível de voo 360.
Montenegro, uniforme Romeo Golf.
Vai ser Romeo India Golf no solo aos 114. Livre aqui está taxiway Foxtrot. Taxiway Foxtrot Delta. Charlie, mantendo para chorar taxiway Charlie. Bruna Fox, Delta e Charlie. 223, pouso autorizado, pista 111, vento 200 graus 059, o ajuste no 008.
Pouso autorizado no 008, ajuste passarela 2223. Azul 878. Vento 2223.
200 069.
2223.
Canoas 118, decimal 5.
Torre Canoas 118, 5 graus, Ceará, coordenação.
O Gol 242 não tem intenção de descer no nosso descida mais de 60 milhas.
Tente, sua autorização da presente. Quantos minutos aqui de nível de voo 360?
Devido a mau tempo abaixo aqui, estamos passando por cima da formação.
Tente, então o senhor vai ser deferido na descida devido a tráfego.
Não tem problema, vamos ter 4.012.
No 008, reportar a visão com Campo Marinha 7203.
Level 430.
27, cruza 1990 para 390.
Então, tráfego em desvio, tá? O tráfego tá nessa posição de 12 horas e 5
If you're
horas.
just joining us, this is
Nível de voo 370.
This is Something Television. We're listening to the Porto Alegre Airport in Brazil. I believe it's close. I believe it's close to Sao Paulo. Let's see if that's right. It's near Porto Alegre, but I think it might be one of the bigger airports out there. Not positive.
223, gente.
It's ranked number 9 on the live ATC.net channel, which I just subscribed to. It costs I think I paid $4.20 but I can listen to live airport talk. I don't know what they're saying. I mean, they're mostly giving directions and getting permissions to land and take off, which is kind of cool. These are some fresh beats for you on Something TV. I want to show you a movie tonight, if I can find it. So hang tight, and we might have a little bit of a movie night going.
Ali mantém na 11, 3437.
I promised myself I wouldn't drink any more coffee tonight, but I really do enjoy the coffee. So.
autorizado, após desvio de aporte em condições de retornar à rota, o centro vai coordenar se consegue na prospecto.
Gente, bom, deve saber vai informar retorno nota. 1 Alfa.
Então 3437, decolagem autorizada, pista 11, vento de 200 graus 06 nós, hoje Chuno 008.
A 008, livre decolagem da pista 3437.
Exército 2027, boa tarde.
All right, folks, we're about to start our movie. This is called Don't Be a Sucker. And it's from the Prelinger archives.
Temperatura 19, hora certa 19.
Prezada, RNP Zuluda 11.
Azul 2506, continue aproximação com a pista livre.
Continua aproximação, aguardando pista livre 2506.
Romeu India Golf, autorizado o cruzamento de pistas de imediato da taxiway Charlie para Kilo.
Livre cruzamento Charlie Kilo, Romeu India Golf.
Então 3437, decolado aos 20. Chame o controle Porto Alegre na frequência 120 decimal.
Henry here got on the train with $200. He couldn't see any harm in a friendly game of cards. What if the other men were strangers? And take Joe Collins. He's got a nice wife at home. But he met this girl at the bar, and she looked, after the first couple of drinks.
Oh boy, they hit him right on the head. This is not the film I thought it was, but let's see what happens. I'm curious now. Don't Be a Sucker is the name of this film.
There's a good old-fashioned word for people like us. We call them suckers.
Don't
And
be
there
a
are
sucker.
other people. People who stay up nights figuring out how to take away what they've got.
Oh, this might be the right film.
There are all kinds of games. Mike here, for instance. He's got everything in me. He's young, he's healthy, got a job. And
Don't Be a Sucker is a film. Let's get in the details before we go any further. Looks like it was produced, publication date 2/21/2009. I don't think that's when it really came out. This is a short film warning Americans against repeating the mistakes of intolerance made in Nazi Germany. It looks like it could be pretty cool. I mean, I'm lying. I've seen it. I think it's pretty cool. I hope you'll enjoy it. I don't know if I'll get a copyright ping because I think the Prelinger Archives owns it, so I'm going to have to keep some sound on. I'll keep the beats on, but I'm going to turn them way down. So you'll be hearing a little bit of the beats in the background just to keep the copyright bots off my back. They still might come after me, and that's okay. We'll do what we can. This is Something Television. You can call us and you can talk about this if you want, if you feel so inclined. I think I'm going to keep the color correction distortion going for the moment. I'm not going to make it a full screen. And here we go.
He's got a company of food. Big factories to make things a man can use.
That's right.
Big cities to do the business of a big company.
Let's start over. Don't Be a Sucker by the Prelinger Archives.
Henry here got on the train with $200. He couldn't see any harm in a friendly game of cards. What if the other men were strangers? And take Joe Collins. He's got a nice wife at home. But he met this girl at the bar, and she looked after the first couple of drinks.
Oh boy, just hit him right over the head. That's not fun.
There's a good old-fashioned word for people like us. We call them suckers. And there are other people. People who stay up nights figuring out how to take away what they've got. There are all kinds of games. Mike here, for instance. He's got everything in him. He's young, he's healthy, got a job. And he's got plenty of food. Big factories to make things a man can use. Big cities to do the business of a big company. And people. Lots of people. Enough to work the farm and build the factories, dig the mines, run the business. All kinds of people. People from different countries with different religions, different colored skins. Free people. They can live together and work together and build America together because they're free. Free to vote, to say what they please, go to their own churches, to pick their own jobs. Yeah, Mike's got something, all right. He's got America.
He's got America, people. It's very important.
But there are guys who stay up nights figuring out how to take that away from him.
I happen to know the facts. My friends, I'm just an average American. But I'm an American. And some of the things I see in this country of ours make my blood boil. I see people with foreign money. I see Negroes holding jobs that belong to me and you. Now I ask you, if we allow this thing to go on, what's going to become of us real Americans?
I just want to point out the very first thing that somebody who wants to gain political power, if they can't win with their ideas, they win with the threat of the other. And it was very popular back then to use black folks, and it's still popular today to use black and brown folks as scapegoats. Just pointing that out.
I've heard this kind of talk before, but I never expected to hear it in America.
This fellow seems to know what he's talking about. What are we real Americans going to do about it? You'll find it right here in this little pamphlet. The truth about Negroes and foreigners.
So the truth about Negroes and foreigners, when this film was made, this was a great example. They showed you very clearly the scare tactic. And the audience is almost exclusively white people.
Truth about the Catholic Church. You'll find
Do you believe in
Oh,
the
see,
Catholic?
they used to go after the Catholics back then too, because I think they thought somehow the Pope was gonna be in charge or something. I wasn't ever sure of what that was about. It seemed pretty dumb. It seemed like a pretty dumb idea. But hey, that's what people did back then. So we should try to understand it so we don't do it again. Because we keep trying to do it again.
And I tell you, friends, we'll never be able to call this country our own until it's a country without. Without what? Yeah, without what? Without Negroes.
Oh.
Without alien foreigners. Without Catholics. Without Freemasons. You know these
Do you catch that? Without Catholics and Freemasons. The mistake that the isolationists, if we want to call them that, the Trumpers, this is what Trump is selling. It's the same idea. His thing was Mexicans and Muslims mostly, right? He wants you to be afraid of them. But here they still included the Masons and the Catholics. And you can call this whatever you want, authoritarianism. It's really, somebody trying to be a dictator or a king. They need people for you to be afraid of. And they always make the tent too small because they're always trying to get rid of people. And that's their Achilles heel.
What's wrong with the Masons? I'm a Mason.
Yeah.
Hey, that fellow's talking about me.
And
That's
that
right.
makes a difference, doesn't it?
These are your enemies. These are the people who are trying to take over our country. Now you know them. You know what they stand for. And it's up to you and me to fight them. Fight them and destroy them before they destroy us. Thank you.
So the threat of destruction is critical. Threat of destruction,
Before
of
he
course.
said Masons, you were ready to agree with him.
Well, yes, but he was talking about... What about those other people?
But in this country, we have no other people. We are American people.
What about you? You aren't American, are you?
I was born in Hungary, but now I am an American citizen. And I have seen what this kind of talk can do. I saw it in Berlin.
What were you doing there?
I was a professor at the university. I heard the same words we have heard today.
There you go.
But I was a fool then. I thought Nazis were crazy people, stupid fanatics. But unfortunately, it was not so. You see, they knew that they were not strong enough to conquer a unified country. So they split Germany into small groups. They used prejudice as a practical weapon to cripple the nation. Of course, that was not easy to do. They had to work hard to do it. You see, we human beings are not born with prejudices. Always they are made for us. Made by someone who wants something. Remember that when you hear this kind of talk. Somebody is going to get something out of it. And it isn't going to be you. Are made for us. Easy to do. They had country. So they stupid fanatics. But unfortunately it was not so. You see, they knew that they were not strong enough to conquer a unified country. So they split Germany into small groups. They used prejudice as a practical weapon to cripple the nation. Of course, they're strong enough to conquer a unified country. So they split Germany into small groups. They used prejudice as a practical weapon to cripple the nation. Of course, that was not easy to do. They had to work hard to do it. You see, we human beings are not born with prejudices. Always they are made for us. Made by someone who wants something. Remember that when you hear this kind of talk. Somebody is going to get something out of it. And it isn't going to be you. This is not classroom theory. I saw it happen. I saw it first in Berlin in 1932. 5 young men that I knew were standing in the crowd listening to the Nazi speaker. Eric was a Catholic. Anton, a student of mine, was a Jew. Heinrich owned a small hardware store. Karl was a farmer. And Hans was an unemployed metal worker.
To all Bavarian Germans, I say it is time you inherited the nation which rightfully belongs to you. To you alone belongs the glorious destiny of the greater Germany. The Nazi Party will provide land for the farmer, work for the worker, and profits for the small businessman. Who is getting these things now? The Jew. The Jew who has stolen our nation and our birthright. Who makes all the money and takes all our jobs? The Jew! He must be shunned. He must be ostracized. He must be eliminated. And the Catholics. We don't want our great nation run by a foreign church. We Germans will know what to do with these people when the time comes. They and their faith must be destroyed. Then there are the Freemasons. In Germany, we have no place for secret societies. There will be only one society, and that is the Nazi Party. There will be no secrecy about that in the new Greater Germany.
One by one, he attacked each minority and he split them off one from the other. These men were all fellow Germans when they came here today. Now they were split into rival groups, suspicious of each other, hating each other. They were being swindled, all of them. But the man who was really being fooled was Hans. He was pure German, according to Nazi standards. To him they promised everything, and he fell for it. That's how Hans became a Superman. They gave him a uniform and they pumped up his ego. He wasn't just a little fellow out of work anymore. He was a member of the master race. Hans and thousands of others like him, all playing a sucker's game. They gambled with other people's liberty, and of course they lost their own. A nation of suckers. Hitler needed these people. There was lots of work to be done. There were trade unions to be smashed, because unions were organized and might offer resistance. There were many political parties in Germany. These the Nazis destroyed. They were determined to smash every organization where people might band together and resist them. There were Jews to be beaten and killed. The Jews were not powerful, but they were a convenient excuse for all the nation's ills. And besides, a Nazi party member could not take over this man's store. Hundreds of Catholics were put in jail because the Catholic Church had strength and could resist the Nazi drive for power. They had split the nation into 100 pieces, and then one by one, they had destroyed the pieces. Over these broken pieces, the Nazis rode into power. One party, one nation, one religion. These men had won their struggle for power. They now ruled all of Germany. But still they had trouble with their oldest and most persistent enemy, the truth. They found that truth does not die easily, and so they decided to abolish truth. One great source of truth is literature, so they burned books, 20 million of them. Many great men in Germany who were spokesmen for truth were jailed or driven from their country. Teachers, writers, scientists. Education was discouraged. In 5 years, college attendance dropped 53%. It was forbidden to listen to a British radio program or read an American newspaper. In Nazi Germany, you had to get your information from Dr. Goebbels. He knew what was best for you. The church was one force in Germany still strong enough to proclaim the truth in public. This Catholic priest was arrested the following day on charges of immorality. The Protestant church also continued to try and fight for truth. The Nazis put this man in a concentration camp. There were others who spoke for truth, and I am proud to say that educators were among them.
And what, may I ask, is an Aryan? I don't know myself. But let us see what our present so-called authorities have to say about it. They say he is tall, slender, blue-eyed, and blonde.
just a minute ago, he was talking about how they burned books, and we don't really burn them these days. Some people probably do, but the way they do it now is they proclaim them unfit for the library, and then they try to charge librarians for sharing books. That's how you know you're dealing with a cult leader, somebody who wants a lot of mind control. They don't, free people don't try to take away the thoughts that other people might have. They don't try to ban books. They might disagree with a book, but when you're dealing with a really repressive person who wants to be a king, basically a dictator, they don't want you to think certain thoughts, because those thoughts, like the ones expressed in this film, might make you unite against the leader who's probably exploiting you, but he wants to make sure you don't listen to anybody else. So whenever somebody starts taking away books,
There is no Aryan race.
Be suspicious.
And more important, there is no master.
And for those of you far right, white supremacist types, just keep in mind what he's saying right here is good science. The Aryan race thing was just made up. It's just made up bullshit.
Aryan race.
There's no such thing, people.
And more important,
I think some of you, some of the older folks knew that.
there are people who may find these ideas convenient.
The young folks maybe
cannot
don't
support
remember
them.
this.
There is no scientific proof that there's any correlation between a man's racial characteristics and his native ability or character. In all racial groups, we find the same range of potentialities. We find idiots and geniuses. We find criminals and philanthropists. We must judge each man.
I just want to point out, back then the word idiot was considered a medical term, just F to the Y.
As an individual, and not by the color of his skin or his eyes or by the length of his nose.
Oh, they're coming to get him. You're in jail, buddy.
Come in, gentlemen. It's comfortable. And remember that there is no master race. That is a scientific truth. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying.
And so for all practical purposes, truth had been abolished in Germany. A lot of my German friends wondered what had hit them. How did it happen? Where did it start? It started right here. And this was where it could have been stopped. If those people had stood together, if they had protected each other, they could have resisted the Nazi threat. Together they would have been strong. But once they allowed themselves to be split apart, they were helpless. When that...
Comfortable. And remember that there is no master race. That is a scientific truth. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying.
They're roughing that boy up.
And so for all practical purposes, truth had been abolished in Germany. A lot of my German friends wondered what had hit them. How did it happen? Where did it start? It started right here. And this was where it could have been stopped. If those people had stood together, if they had protected each other, they could have resisted the Nazi threat. Together they would have been strong. But once they allowed themselves to be split apart, they were helpless. When that first minority lost out, everybody lost out. They made the mistake of gambling with other people's freedom. Now let's see how those bets paid off. Karl the farmer was gambling on a better life for himself. What he got was extra hours of back-breaking work, as much as 100 hours a week. He was forced to stay on his land and produce what he was told to produce, because now Hitler was preparing for war. For Heinrich, who owned a hardware store, the bet didn't pay off either. 104,000 small businesses were closed in 2 years. And for Hans, conditions hadn't improved any. He had a job now in a munitions factory, but he worked long hours for little pay. The working conditions grew increasingly bad. And even though he didn't like the job, he wasn't permitted to leave it. And when Hitler decided the time was right, Germany went to war. Not by declaring war, but by a carefully prepared sneak attack. Once again, Hitler needed Hans to do his dirty work. Hans was an expert at brutality this time. And Hitler had decided to use Hans and his brutality against other peoples, the Czechs, the Poles, the French, the Russians. But in the crucial test of war, Hitler's race theories didn't pay off. His pure-blooded supermen were defeated by the mongrel armies he despised. By the British of El Alamein. By the Russians at Stalingrad. Then on D-Day by American soldiers of every color and religion, who smashed across the Normandy beaches and drove on through to the heart of Germany. For the misguided Germans who had swallowed the Nazi bait, the Nazi game did not pay off. The continent of Europe was strewn with millions of German bodies, pure Aryan bodies. Karl, the farmer, was left in the snow outside of Moscow. Heinrich stayed in Italy at Salerno. And Hans, who was going to rule the world, got only a little patch of Normandy that he could call his own.
We must never let that happen to us or to our country. We must never let ourselves be divided by race or color or religion, because in this country we all belong to minority groups. I was born in Hungary, you are a Mason. These are minorities, and then you belong, because in this country we all belong to minority groups. I was born in Hungary, has been divided by race or color or religion, because never let that happen to us or to our country. We must never let ourselves be divided by race or color or religion, because in this country we all belong to minority groups. I was born in Hungary, you are a Mason. These are minorities, and then you belong to other minority groups too. You are a farmer, you have blue eyes, you go to the Methodist.
It's an excellent message. They weren't really ready to acknowledge other minorities. I'm just pointing that out. It's all white men talking about being treated like minorities.
This church, your right to belong to these minorities is a precious thing. You have a right to be.
I mean, it's good. It's a progressive message. I like it, but we have to do a new version of this.
What you are and say what you think, because here we have personal freedom, we have liberty, and these are not just fancy words. This is a practical and priceless way of living. But we must work at it. We must guard everyone's liberty, or we can lose our own. If we allow any minority to lose its freedom by persecution or by prejudice, we are threatening our own freedom. And this is not simply an idea. This is good, hard common sense. You see, here in America is not a question whether we tolerate minorities. America is minorities. And that means you and me. So let's not be suckers. We must not allow the freedom or dignity of any man to be threatened by any act or word. Let's be selfish about it. Let's forget about we and they. Let's think about us. And Hans, who was going to rule the world, got only a little patch of